welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Myriam Hadnes with us. Myriam, did I pronounce your second name right?
Yes, Hadnes is good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your invitation, Atul.
Awesome. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
So my name is Myriam Hadnes. I was born and raised in Germany. I now live in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I am a behavioral economist by training. Did a PhD in that. Behavioral economics is the crossroad between economics and social psychology. I am a podcaster. I am a facilitator, and I'm a business owner. So I run a training agency where we work with multinational clients to deliver training on air quotes, soft skills like leadership skills, psychological safety, communication skills. Exactly. And that's also the name of my podcast. Yeah. It started, I'm a recovering academic, so I used to work in universities. And at some point, I realized that I need to break out of that routine in the public sector. So I quit my job, moved to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, and tried to find a job in the private sector and realized that I was unemployable. And with a little bit of soul searching, I realized that I'm a facilitator. So I am someone who has the skills and maybe the talent to help groups to think better together and to collaborate better together. But when I introduced myself as a facilitator, the response I received was, what? What is a facilitator? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Are you a trainer? So I started the podcast Workshops Work to promote the profession of the facilitator and the means of the workshop. And then I think through the podcast, actually my business has developed more. So I facilitated more and more workshops, first for companies, for teams. With the pandemic, I lost all of my clients. I built a community, an online community for facilitators. And this community I turned into an agency now, where I continue to work with our best community members. And now we help multinational clients. Well, so I think it's a big promise to say that one workshop will totally transform a team. I think it sounds great on paper. The reality is you can have insights, you can meet your team members in a different way. And then on Monday morning, you still have to go back to work and do the work. So, and as a facilitator, we only see the first bit. So I think what I have helped teams do is finding better understanding for the work of each other. Because especially when we're stressed, there's a lot of blaming, finger pointing. You should do the work. I did, but you do. And to align different team members to find out how they work better together and what they need from each other in order to show up as their best. I think these are the best workshops for me because we're creating something sustainable in the longer term. No.
Can you walk us through the process of your workshop?
So for clarity, what I do now most often is training instead of workshops. But if you're interested in workshops, I have a very clear process where I would first schedule a call with possibly all of the participants or at least 15 participants that will be there. And I send them a Calendly link to book a 15-minute slot. And I do that because very often when the client asks for a workshop, they have a specific purpose in mind. And when you speak with the participants who actually will be there, you realize that what they need or what they expect is something very different. So it has happened to me that the client wanted a workshop on team building, but what they actually needed was clarity regarding roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
So these kind of pre-interviews help me to understand what their expectations are and what their needs are. I would ask them, okay, think of the worst experience ever. Imagine that at the end of the workshop, you think, what a waste of my time. What has happened? And then they will tell me exactly what they don't want to happen. And this helps me to avoid that. And we create a little bit of rapport. Then I would design a process and have another call with a client, with a hiring client, to make sure that we're aligned on the real purpose and an overall process. I would not share the agenda with them.
Okay, okay.
Because very often, as soon as you walk in, stuff may change. The group needs something different. And I don't want them to feel disappointed or to say, but you said that you want to do this at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need to keep some flexibility. Um,
Oh, no, you go ahead.
and then the workshop starts. I think this is when you really have to be present and to see what wants to emerge from the group. So in the best of all cases, we can go through the process as planned and finish on time and have achieved whatever the group wanted to achieve and define some next steps,
Okay. So,
and the magic happens in between.
yes, yes. Okay, so apart from workshop, what else you're offering?
The training.
Training.
So what is the difference? For me, a workshop means that I am coming as the facilitator who has no or very little subject matter expertise. I trust that the group knows everything about the content. And what they're lacking is someone to help them to communicate with one another and to really access each other's brains. If I come in as a trainer, I assume that I have subject matter expertise that the group is lacking. So I'm there to fill a knowledge gap. And then I might use very similar tools. So I will still have breakout rooms and let them discuss with each other. We will always be in a conversation because I assume that in adult training, the participants know a lot already.
Mhm.
And it's important also to acknowledge that knowledge and to bring it into the conversation. But yeah, the focus and the purpose is very different.
Okay, so what do you think? What work? So you have worked around all over the world. Okay, so what's one thing you have learned about cross culture collaboration that most people overlook?
I think that independent of the culture, everyone suffers a little bit from maybe or personal insecurity, especially when it comes to group. And I think the moment we can help participants, learners to connect to each other and feel safe with each other, we'll learn better and communicate better and achieve more goals. So I think independent of culture, we all have a desire for belonging and for safety and self-expression.
That makes sense.
And then there are all the differences in terms of hierarchy, in terms of permission, or how much or how little people think they're allowed to say and communicate, how comfortable they feel in groups or individual work, how comfortable they feel with silence. These are things I think that depend on the culture we're operating in.
Okay, so if you could wave a magic wand and change just one thing about how organization approach trainings, then what would it be?
To change one thing about our approach to learning.
Okay.
No, I'm asking whether I understood the question correctly.
Okay. I was saying, if you could change just one thing about how organization approach training, what would it?
Yes. Focus on the connection and the safety before the content.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think when we rush from one meeting to the next and we have too much pressure, we don't have capacity to learn. In order to learn, we need to feel safe and we need to be curious. Otherwise, we don't learn. Before putting more content on the plate of people, first need to make them curious, make them feel safe, and make them feel connected to each other and to themselves so that they can absorb new knowledge.
Okay, okay. Can we talk about your ideal clients?
My ideal clients are multinational companies with, I would say, at least 10 to 20,000 employees that are working across the world. Because what we are specialized in training in different languages. So we offer the same training in up to 15 different languages.
Wow.
And it helps. So for instance, if a company wants to introduce a new feedback culture, then it's important for them that every employee knows what this culture is and what the methods are to use. If a company wants to introduce higher psychological safety, we want to ensure that everyone is using the same tools and the same language. Or if a company wants to introduce or connect their workforce to their company values, then we want to have these conversations, and having them in the mother tongue and the native language of the employees makes a big difference to the learning.
Okay. And you read a lot of books, okay? So tell me about your top 2 favorite books that has the most impact on your life.
My life.
Yes.
That's a very big question. I think there was Priya Parker's The Art of Gathering, which had a big impact. I don't know whether it was the biggest impact, but it has a big impact on my life because it was the book that I read and then understood that I am a facilitator and there's a profession called facilitation. So this was a big change. And another book, I guess you're cutting out the silence, right? Geez, you know what? The other book, is Nonviolent Communication. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Goldberg. And it's a technique on how to have conversations, difficult conversations, without spiraling into fights. Because very often, especially when we're giving feedback or when we have difficult conversations, we quickly go into blaming, shaming, evaluating. And I think everyone knows the feedback. You are not listening. Yes, you are. No, you're not. Yes, I am. I am not. Because you are not listening is a statement that is wrong because we don't know, we cannot look into the other person's brain. So we don't know whether they're listening or not. But in our communication, very often we're using this air quotes violent language. So I think nonviolent communication has been a big game changer for me in how I communicate. Yes, and it's a very fun read. Either on LinkedIn, I'm very active there, or on my website, workshops.org. I think that the art of facilitation, you don't have to be a facilitator to facilitate. And every manager, leader benefits from the art of bringing people together for convening and having better conversations. Thank you. You too, Atul. Thank you for having me. Bye.